So now we move on to common stock features. Common stock has a par value. It legally represents a stockholder's minimum financial obligation in the event the corporation is liquidated. I'm not sure that that's a accurate statement. I mean, the shareholder is, the if a company is liquidated, the value of the shareholder's stock is effectively is worthless. If the company's liquidated and then there are funds left over after everybody else is paid, there would be a distribution to the shareholders. In most cases, when a company's liquidated, the debt holders are not paid in full. So as a result, the shareholders are effectively left holding the bag. They get nothing. Dividends. Firms have no legal obligation to pay common dividends. That is a decision of the firm to pay dividends. One thing to note as far as the value of the firm, if a company has projects that that offer returns greater than the required rate, investors' required rate of return, or the company's cost of capital, that actually will increase the value of the firm. So a shareholder actually would be better off in the long run if the company didn't pay a dividend as opposed to paying a dividend and not investing in those projects. On the other hand, if companies investing in projects that don't earn the company's cost of capital, those actually reduce the value of the firm. Maturity common stock generally has no specific maturity. It's perpetually outstanding. That affects the way we value it because the company is expected to be in business in perpetuity. So, priority to assets and earnings. Dividends can only be paid after interest on debt and preferred dividends are paid. If any obligation is in arrears, those bondholders or preferred shareholders have to be made whole before the common shareholders can be paid. Control of the firm. Common stockholders have voting rights. For the most part, one share is one vote. So if you've ever owned common stock, it's very common to receive letters in the mail asking you to vote on certain proposals, or you may receive mail that asks you for your proxy, which is you handing over your voting rights to somebody. Preemptive right. Preemptive right gives stockholders the right to purchase additional shares of stock sold by the firm on a pro rata basis. This is before the shares can be offered to investors. What this does is allows you to maintain your percentage of ownership in the firm. It's more valuable in most cases for somebody who owns a large stake in a firm as opposed to somebody like us who's probably going to be a relatively small investor. Types of common stock. Classified. Common stock that's in a given special or class that has a special designation, Class A, Class B, to meet needs of the company. We'll talk in a minute about founder shares. There are also classes of shares that are given to significant individuals in the firm, and a lot of times might have more votes per share. They'll allow say a Class B stock might have 5 votes or 10 votes per share, and this allows the principles of a company to maintain control of the company without having to hold on to uh, all of, more than 50% of the stock. Founder shares very similar. The class of stock owned by firm founders who have sole voting rights in early years. So the idea is to maintain control of the company. In this case, a founder share would give the uh, shareholders of those shares absolute control. But, the different classes of stock are designed to achieve similar goals. So, equity instruments in international markets, uh, ADRs or American Depository Receipts. They are certificates that are created by banks that represent ownership of stocks in foreign countries. ADRs have are less prominent than they used to be because a lot of foreign stocks are actually traded on in American exchanges now. Uh, Historically, 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, there were no foreign stocks traded on American exchanges, so an ADR was the only way to purchase, say, a Japanese company, for example. So if you wanted to invest in Honda in the 1980s, and an ADR would likely have been the only way that you could have done so. Foreign equity. Yankee stock is the stock of a foreign company that's traded in the U.S. Euro stock is a stock that's traded in another country other than the country's home country, except in the United States. We'll start the next lecture with stock valuation models.